very good evening to them, my friends. As you know that today is day 66 of our Sutta discussion. And we're going to be discussing about the third sanya in the Girimananda Sutta, asubha sanya. I think this topic is not very new to many of you. Many of you might have heard this topic here and there, especially asubha. Now, you need to understand that Girimananda Sutta was given by the Buddha to Venerable Ananda, not with the purpose of Venerable Girimananda will become an enlightened person at the end. The only purpose that the Buddha gave this sutta, the 10 perceptions therein, was to help Venerable Girimananda to recover from a sickness. So then we don't have to complicate our step thinking that all these suttas were given to make people enlightened. Why do I say so? Now think about this particular sutta and then many other suttas. Say for instance, Bojjhanga suttas. If you look at Bojjhanga suttas, the three Bojjhanga suttas, even you take Maha Kassapa Thera Bojjhanga, Maha Moggallana Thera Bojjhanga, that means even the enlightened beings, enlightened monks, they got sick. So then the main purpose of this sutta, Girimananda Sutta, was to help Venerable Girimananda to recover from a sickness. So that's something very interesting to learn here. So healing is very important from a sickness. So that's why even now, say for instance, you may have heard about body parts, the bodily parts. It is 32 bodily parts. This number also has a discrepancy. We will be discussing that. Is it 31 or 32? But normally 32. Why 31? Then oftentimes these body parts were given for certain people to pursue their meditation, and then finally they become enlightened. But here, the purpose of studying the 32 body parts or 31 body parts is not to help Venerable Girimananda to become an arahant. It is to help him recover from a sickness. Then there is a problem. The problem is when you look at this, 32, they say, unpleasant things. Normally people get frustrated about the life, about the body, and then they have a huge frustration. They're incurring a huge frustration. And then that frustration was considered as a reason to attain Nibbana. This is what we can see in some other places, especially the context where we see unpleasant things in the body. But here it is not the context. Here the context is by understanding 32 body parts, it helps someone to become a healthy person. Then the context has to be changed. Context has to be understood a little differently. Right? So that's what I wanted to say at the beginning. Okay, so I made a note, as you can see today. First, let's go and take a look at the text. See what the Buddha said in the text. So last Monday, we discussed about the second sanya. This is called anatta sanya. Right? And today we are discussing the third one. It's called asubha sanya. Starting from here. Katama Achananda asubha sanya. What does asubha mean? Subha, asubha. What are these words mean? Subha and At the A before subha, asubha. What does subha mean? What does asubha mean? Subha means pleasant, right? Pleasant. And asubha means unpleasant. Just a very small question, very common question, very, I would say, generic question. Can we live in this world by focusing on unpleasant things? Unpleasant, maybe pessimistic nature of our life. How do we normally try to live in this world? We are trying to live in this world with certain hope. And whatever the other activities we are doing, be that a meditation, prayer, chanting, everything else, they are coming under a certain context where we bring in the hope. Now think about your Chinese New Year, which is coming up, right? What are you doing at the moment? You might be cleaning the houses, right? Pressure washing, doing changes in the house. So why is it? You are creating the hope for a new year. So this new idea, the innovation, this new thing is necessary for us. We know this new thing will become old after some time, then we are expecting some new other things. So being able to understand that there is pleasantness happening in our life is important. But here it is said asubha, unpleasantness. So how do we understand unpleasantness in our life? That's a question. Or do we have to understand unpleasantness in our life? Now think about, are you able to always hear good news from your people, friends, family, all the day? Good news, probably happy news. It is not that easy, right? Time to time you hear someone was sick and someone got this problem, this health issue, someone was having a financial problem, someone was having other problems and family problems, right? So we are time to time juggling with these news as well. But what are we supposed to do here? Unpleasantness is always present in some situations, but we are trying to live with some pleasantness. Then why did the Buddha ask us to look at unpleasantness? That is a question. So please keep that in mind. We are going to explore that in this context. Now, the Buddha is asking, Imameva kayang buddhang padatala adu kesamantaka tacha pariyantang pura nanapakarasa asujino pachavikati. See, it's when a contemplative, anybody like you or a monk, nun, examines their own body up from the soles of the feet and down from the tips of the hairs, wrapped in skin and full of many kinds of filth. Uddhana, from the top, padatala, up until the feet, kesamattaka, tachapariyanta. From above the head hairs, tachapariyanta. Tacha means, tacho means skin. Pura, nanapakara, so various, asuchino. Things that are not present exist. And then now, pachavikati. Pachavikati means, what do you call? Reflect. So what is the importance of reflecting about certain unpleasant things are happening in our body? Is it just to discuss our body? Is it just to discuss other people's body? Right? That's a question as well. And then the list is coming up now. What is the list? You can see here. Atti imasmin kai kesa loma naka danta tacho mansang naharu atti minjan wakkang hadayang yakanang kilomakang pihakang pappasang antang antagunang udariyang karisa pittang sempang Uggo, Lohitang, Sedu, Medu, Asuvasa, Kelo, Singhanika, Lasika, Muttanti. Actually, the list here has only 31. What is missing over here? What is the missing part of this list that we usually get to hear? It's the brain. Mattalunga is missing. But in some other suttas, Mattalunga is there. But in most suttas, Girimananda Sutta, Satipatthana Suttas, Mattalunga is not there. Probably they were not able to find it out at that time. Maybe it was not used in that way. But in some suttas, it has. Okay. And then now we are going to look at these 31 in a better way. So I think if you can go to my notes, which I given to you today, you can see, you can go down here. I have given a link from an interesting website. You can find a detailed blog post about the 32 body parts. This was not done by me, somebody else. So we're going to click on that link. Okay. And here we get this blog post. So this is pretty easy to understand on the both side. You can see here head hair, body hair. So we understand head hair means kesa. This is called kesa. Just trying to write it down this way. Let's see. Okay. Head hair means kesa. Kesa, head hair. Then body hair means loma. Kesa, loma. Now we can see head hair, body hair, they are two different. And nails, we use it for naka. Kesa, head hair, loma, body hair, naka means. And then danta means teeth. Danta. Then we can see skin. Skin means tacho. Tacho. Not taco, okay? It means tacho. Tacho means skin. The largest, what do you call, organ in the body, right? Tacho. And then flesh. Flesh means what do you call mansang. Mansang. Then sinew. Sinew means naharu. Naharu. Then bones. Atti. Atti. Bone marrow. Atti. Minja. You can see the text. I'm just trying to Atti minja. Then kidney. Kidney means wakka. Then heart. Heart means adaya. Then liver, call it yakana. Yakana means liver. Then diaphragm. We call diaphragm to be yakanam kilomaka. Kilomaka. Kesa loma naka danta tacho mansang naharu atti minja wakang hatayang yakanam kilomaka. Then something called spleen, pihaka. Lungs, what's the Pali word for the lungs? Papas. Papas. Then this side. Try to make it this way. Here. Papas. Then large intestine. We call it antang. Small intestine. Antaguna. Antaguna. Then stomach. Udarya. Feces mean karisa. Then the brain. We will just leave the brain part because it was the one that has a discrepancy. So we will go to the other ones. Bile. Call bile to be pitta. Pitta. Phlegm. Pali word for phlegm is sempa. Pus. Upu. Blood. Lohita. Sweat. Sedo. Sedo. Sweat. Then what about fat in the body? Made. Sedo made. What about tears? Asu. Then the grease in the joints, call them asu. Vasa. Vasa. And then saliva, called kelo. Kelo. And mucus. Pali name for the mucus. Singhanika. Call them as brain. Mattalum. The thing is that Girimananda Sutta does not say Mattalum, but we will just write it here. Matta. Okay, so Kesa, Loma, Nakta, Tachu. I think you can read just to get familiar. Loma, Naka, Danta, Tachu, Naharu, Atti, Attiminja, Bakang, Adaya, Yakanang, Kiloma, Pihakana, Antang, Antaguna, Udarya, Karisa, Mattalunga, Pitta, Sempa, Upu, Lohita, Sedu, Vasa, Kelo, Singhanik, Lasika, Mukta. Okay. This website is very interesting. If you click on one of these things, it will show you the place of that. I'm not going to do that because if I do it, all these things will go away, disappear. So if you click on any of these, parts of the body, it will show you the body part, and then you kind of an introduction to it. And then here it has been very clear. And see, or it was given under certain sets. Okay, now we are going to discuss about our knowledge, our understand why asubha sanya. Many perceive, many think the process of asubha, that means contemplating the unpleasant aspects of the body, 32 body parts or 31 body parts, as either two ways, futile endeavor, why to do that? This is unnecessary, we want to live. Or as a way of fostering a distance for the body due to its transient nature. I think it's quite a claim about how people perceive this thing. I think 2 years ago, I met one of the, I think I've shared this before, so one of the retreat participants somewhere in Malaysia. And then in that person's case, the problem this person was going through was that she started disliking her family. She didn't want to join gatherings. She didn't like to see mother, father, family. She always wanted to be like an introvert, more than an introvert, always wants to close the door, lock the door, and finally she felt like this is so obsessive, compulsive, and something wrong is happening. Now, what can I do? Now, the event was meditation retreat. Then I asked, what are you doing at the moment? And she said, I'm doing asubha meditation. I said, what meditation is that? Asubha meditation, 32 body parts. I said, then this is normal. It was not surprising to me. Then I asked, how you chose this meditation? How you selected this meditation? Who told you to do this? Then she said she's been practicing Anapanasati meditation for some time, long time. And suddenly, there was a request, this meditation to be changed by a certain teacher with probably some other instructions. And then since then, she has been going through this disliking nature. She didn't want to join. She always wants to withdraw herself from everything, family, life, everything. And he said, asubha meditation is, now this is asubha sanya, okay? Here, asubha sanya, not meditation. Don't get wrong. It's a sanya for someone to get better in his or her sickness. But if you take Satipatthana Sutta's asubha meditation, Kayagata Sati, which comes under Kanapasana, is a meditation. Normally, this meditation, when asubha becomes a meditation, it is normally prescribed to somebody who has a very hypersexualistic problem. Normally, generally speaking. So this is not a generic meditation for everyone. Because not everyone needs this kind of a meditation. There are people who don't have to look at these body parts to manage his or her sensual pleasures, sensual desire. They're quite okay. They know their boundary. I said, if you like to listen to me, perhaps you make change, you go back to your Anapanasati. And tell me after a few months. And then this happened. And then things are moving on a positive direction. So if you read a lot of suttas, you will understand that this is a certain prescription. It's like, I think I always share this story. It's an antibiotic. Antibiotics are not given all the time, only for a month, only for a couple of weeks. So it will be given by what you call a good teacher. And at the same time, what you call the one has to understand whether this meditation form. So that's why this asubha as a meditation should only be practiced by certain individuals under a very, very closely monitored teacher. Otherwise, and when you do it in your own way, you will go through issues because you are seeing something very in an unpleasant way. Now think about it. Doctors do the same thing. Doctors are studying anatomy, they are dissecting things, surgeries, but they never become like this. Right? Up to that conventional norm of medical uh, experiment, medical things. So then we have to be very careful uh, about asubha as a meditation. But asubha as a sanya is a very healthy approach to get better. I will tell you how is it going to work. Because sutta was given for Venerable Girimananda not to become enlightened, to get better from the sickness. That means if we clearly understand asubha sanya, it has to get better. It helps us recover physical, mental, emotional illnesses. Okay. So then, first, I want to share with you those two misconceptions. Some people think it's a futile endeavor, but it's not. There is a purpose, good purpose. And then, or some others might think that it's a way how to distaste about the body. However, asubha sanya, the third sanya in the Girimananda Sutta, now which we are studying, the perception of the body's unpleasantness, holds a deeper and more profound purpose. Traditionally, it was taught to individuals with sexual desires, intense sexual desires. This can be coming from environmental factors, this can be coming from one's own mismanaging emotions, mismanaging the sensual pleasures, right? When things are not, this can happen. Ideally speaking, as a meditation was prescribed for intent to help them gain mass impulses. Therefore, it was not its impact may vary, particularly for those tendencies. So then, what about the people who have a natural practice, who have a natural, behavior, who are really managing their impulses, even without knowing Buddhism, just as a common sense. So then, that's why it was recommended as a meditation for a specific purpose. Now, the transformative power of asubha sanya in the Girimananda Sutta for personal growth and spiritual development. Let's see. In the Girimananda Sutta, which we study here, asubha sanya is introduced from a more profound and enriching perspective, one that offers significant benefits for personal growth and spiritual development, especially for both lay and monastic practice, especially lay people, I would say. At its heart, the teaching is both simple and transformative by cultivating a deep and essential understanding of the 32 body parts of the body. One gains greater mastery over both its physical and mental aspects. This awareness not only diminishes craving and clinging, but also nurtures a life that is healthier, more compassionate, balanced, harmonious, and self-disciplined. Ultimately, it fosters a deep sense of inner peace and clarity. It may lead to nibbana as well, depending on the situation. Now, the thing is that it helps to gain a greater mastery about physical and mental aspects. Now, think about today's society, contemporary society. Are we really health conscious compared to our ancestors, our predecessors who lived in 70s, 60s, 50s, 80s? What do you think? Are people getting more health conscious nowadays? Are there certain standards that where people check even they before buy something? Are they checking how much this, how much this, the what you call the nutrient values? Are people very much becoming health conscious? And are there things like superfood, organic food? Are there cultures that are happening throughout these aspects? It is happening. Compared to our predecessors, even probably 90s, early 2000, people have been becoming, I mean, not everybody, but a substantial amount of people, they are more towards into health consciousness. How to become healthy without understanding our body? Now, what do we normally do in terms of our body? We give our all the religious practice to the monks. You solve all our problems. We give all our health problems to the doctors. What if that we are trying to understand our body? It's an understanding about our, look at these 32 body parts. I mean, say for instance, understanding about skin. Nowadays, skin treatments are one of the very highest, very expensive treatments in the world, right? They charge a lot, right? Dermatology things. So what if an understanding of our own body, starting from these tiny, tiny, small and major things, would that be a certain help for us to become healthier rather than leaving our health, our well-being over to a doctor? Yes, doctor will do something. But what about us? So initially speaking, understanding these 32 body parts will help you to become more conscious about your body. Is it very important to be conscious about our body? Or is it something not very important to you? I think it's very important. Craving, clinging, they are obsessive levels of that. But what do you call, not to the level of clinging, craving, but to the level of taking care of ourselves and our life. We really need to have some amount of knowledge, some understanding about how things work. Not even the body parts. How do the body parts respond to our food culture? And what food and how to eat them and all that. So I think definitely this health consciousness really coming out of a good understanding about our body parts to some extent. We can't be doctors, but if you have a certain understanding, then that will really help us to become healthy. Now, going back over here, in the Girimananda Sutta, the reflection on the 32 body parts was primarily, okay, don't get wrong, primarily meant to heal, not to enlighten. The Buddha's idea primarily was to give these 10 sanya, was to help Venerable Girimananda to get better. Why is it? Even the enlightened people got sick. Even the Buddha also got sick. That means enlightenment does not exempt anybody from being sick. Because this body, even though you mentally you become enlightened, this body, as long as you carry the body, you still have to go through, you are subject to the sankharas. Right? You are subject to all that. So then the primary purpose of this sutta is not to tell Venerable Girimananda, hey, go and understand 10 sanya, you become enlightened. So the primary purpose of giving these 10 sanya is to, the more someone understands the 10 sanya, the faster the healing, the faster someone understand life, thereby someone may get enlightened. But before that, that person has to recover from the sickness. Because when you have a sickness, you can't think about enlightenment that way. It might be difficult. So healing is very important. That means healing is common to lay people and monastics. So that's why the sutta was primarily given not to post the enlightenment, but to get better from the sickness. We'll see how it works. And here, in this context, when the Buddha advises Venerable Girimananda to contemplate the unpleasant nature of the body, he is not suggesting a focus on despair or suffering. That's pretty interesting. When someone is very sick, if you go and talk to them, see, the body is very painful, right? What about someone is going there and telling a patient in a hospital, I'm going through lots of pain, and you are going to talk about a very high-end Dhamma concept, like how Venerable Sariputta gave to Anatha Pintika, which is not common to all of us. You see, it's so painful, right? Suffering, pain. Now you can become enlightened. It is not going to work. It's not pleasant as well. So what the Buddha is saying is not that you are going through pain. I know you are in pain, but try to focus on different angles of this experience. That might help you recover from the illness, become less painful, and then the recovery will be possible. And the Buddha said, when Venerable Ananda asked, can you go and see him? Buddha said, no, I will tell you the 10 sanya. You learn them. You teach Venerable Girimananda. Once he heard, actually, not learn. Once he heard, he will get better. What does it mean? That means a clear internalization of the 10 perceptions will help someone get better fast. Now think about it. Venerable Ananda was telling all these to Venerable Girimananda. Venerable Ananda did not become an arahant. Right? He couldn't even become an arahant until the first council. So that means this is more towards healing. So if you also try to internalize the 10 perceptions in the way how they were given, you also can heal faster from your sicknesses. It might be a chronic pain, it might be something else, but there is always a possibility. Okay. And then, instead, the Buddha encourages Venerable Girimananda to recognize that understanding the true nature of the body, its change and flows, offers a way out. But this way out is not Nibbana initially. This way out is recovery. What does it mean? Now you think about, at the end of every Dhamma talk, maybe any other contemplative activity, meditation or whatever, prayer, were you not able to sort of tapping into a certain peace of mind? What was that peace of mind like? Was it Nibbana? It might not be the generic Nibbana, but it is a higher feeling. So that means Buddha was asking Venerable Girimananda, by listening to Venerable Ananda's saying of 10 perceptions, if you focus on them, then you will understand life in that proper way that will initially make you a healthy person. He's not talking about enlightenment at that. So that means if someone is really listening to the proper Dhamma things, that can help someone get better mentally, physically, emotionally. Okay. So that way out is that recover. This insight provides hope. I think that's very interesting. Hope, mentally, physically, showing that improvement is possible, that one does not have to succumb to sickness or despair, although it can be inevitable at times. Does someone have to tell us that you're getting sick one day? Yeah, we're getting sick, there's no problem. But how to live without catching lots of sicknesses is a very hope. And we are creating the hope. And even this teaching was given to the monk in a way you can recover and you can keep the hope, you can create more hope. The key lesson is that through understanding, there's always the potential for good health and transformation. That's pretty interesting. Because Buddha always talking to us about take care of yourself, take care of others, balance out this understanding. Never only take care of yourself, never become a selfish person. If you are only taking care of you, then you can be a selfish person. But there are people who are only taking care of other people. That is also not a nice thing. And one day you will tell, you are the ones who became energy vampires in my life to consume my whole energy. But the person who did that kind of a help should have understood I should not destroy my own happiness, self-care. By maintaining both self-care and then other care, one is going to go to that health, that good health, that happiness. Nobody else can do that for us. Okay. And there's one thing that I could not share before. As you can see over here, okay, this awareness not only diminishes craving and clinging, of course, the more we understand our body. Say, for instance, you are trying to understand your liver, you are trying to understand your stomach. Then the more you understand, you are thinking about your compulsive, obsessive eating habits, right? Maybe you recently got checked by a test and then they say that you have lots of cholesterol, right? You are thinking what to do now. Have I understood that I have a liver and I have this part and that part? Probably someone was diagnosed with something like maybe cirrhosis. And the doctors are saying you have non-alcoholic cirrhosis. Then you are very shocked to hear that. Why? I don't know about my body. But the doctor is saying you are at the fourth stage of your non-alcoholic, cirrhosis. Then you have to do a lot of exercises. You have to cut down. Then only someone is to understand I have a liver and I have this problem in the liver. So that's why, and a certain understanding about the body parts, very essential to practice this self-care. Don't take it all the time the way like a asubha meditation. All these are disgusting, unpleasant. I have it, you have it. Where are we going? So we have to look at this from a more positive way to become healthy. At times we will become sick. And we have things to consider even when we are sick. Right? So we have to maintain all these aspects. At the same time, I'm talking here something more compassionate. When I understand my body in that way, I also understand other people also have these health issues. They also have these kind of parts in their body. I become more compassionate to their concerns. I become more compassionate to their sicknesses. I become more compassionate to their lifestyles. I try to welcome, embrace other people. That's such a good thing. That's why practicing asubha as a sanya does not get you to an unpleasantness that way, but they are unpleasant in their own way, but you are bringing them with the hope to get you better and to be more compassionate about other people as well. That is very important in Buddhism. And then over here, discrepancy in the enumeration of the body parts, suttas. Now I told you, Girimananda Sutta has only 31. Satipatthana Suttas, you can see Digha Nikaya 22, MN 10. Both Satipatthana Sutta also have 31. Then where is 32? This sutta. Most suttas don't specify the total number of body parts as 32, but rather 31, including the Girimananda Sutta and Satipatthana. However, the Vijaya Sutta, Sutta Nipada 1.11, includes 32 body parts by adding the brain to the list. Perhaps we can click on the Vijaya Sutta here. See the Vijaya Sutta. You can see here victory over desire for the body. You can see all the body parts were given over here. And then you can see somewhere here. Yeah, mattalum. Atassa susirang sisang mattalunga sapu. Mattalunga means brain. This is brain. So that means this Sutta Nipata. This is one of the books in the Kuddaka Nikaya mentions Mattalunga, making the list to be 32. This is the main generic, what you call, understanding about the body parts. Includes Vijaya Sutta, includes 32 body parts by adding the brain to the list. While the more common enumeration is 32, I follow the convention, but it's important to also consider the instances where only 31 body parts are mentioned. That's not a very big concern. I just wanted to tell you the numbers, but 31 is the usual number. Okay, and then we are going to the questions. Some of the questions I put up here, just to review the what you call the lesson. How do many people perceive the practice of asubha, and why is this understanding often seen as misguided? We call it misguided. It's because when someone is going to practice it without understanding one's own meditation need, one's own temperament, character, this will become a certain problem to them. That's why I told you it's very important to have a very good teacher. I don't think that a teacher will give you this in the first place. Asubha as a meditation. Normally, teachers are giving you the basic meditations. Anapanasati meditation, metta meditation, and all that. Very rarely, depending on the person's character, and probably the person is trying to say that I'm struggling with a certain what you call extreme karma thoughts. At that point, a teacher might say you will do it for a certain time, but not for a longer period of time. Because if someone is going to practice it for a longer period of time, they start to, I mean, if it is not warranted, if it is not needed exactly, if it is needed, yes, that person has to do it until that person is going to go through, overcome the problem. But if there is no problem anymore, bringing that up all the time, that might give them a certain, what you call isolation problem. Like I said in that example, they are thinking, I also have the body parts, you also have the body parts, and I'm looking at you as a panchakam. And at that point, we might not accept people from their conventional things. And you are a man, you're a woman, and all that. You are from here, you have a culture, and you be like this, you have this and that. So that's why those things might be at jeopardy at that time. That's why this has to be done as a meditation under a very much supervised, background. Okay, so the misunderstanding is that a lot of people think this is a normal meditation. This is not a normal meditation if it becomes a meditation. It is a certain prescribed meditation for certain individuals. Let me ask you, can you think about any examples from the Buddha's life where Buddha recommended this? Can you think about those examples? Any stories? And there were some monks who had some problems in meditating. And what they did at that time, there was not a proper cremation. Cremation was expensive at that time, like today, right? And even burial of a dead body. So they just wrapped a dead body with certain clothing, left it in the cemetery. And then the monks go there and then unwrap the wrapping of the clothing, and then they made a robe out of it, and then they started wearing it. But not every monk did that. So Buddha, time to time, understood certain monks, they needed this kind of a certain exposure to some kind of unpleasantness, but not everybody. So there were certain examples in that way. So I'm telling you, this is something that is, as a meditation, is only for certain people. But today, our emphasis for lay people like you, not in that context. I said, understanding the body and how our different organs, uh, the parts of the body are what you call synthesized, and then how they can be looked at from an anatomical background, and then and have a certain understanding about the body in that way will help you to take care of it. This is something that I'm suggesting for the lay people in the first place. But if you are someone who is too too much focus on this thing as a meditation, you perhaps go and ask a teacher whether this is the good meditation for, and then there will be a decision for that. But for the lay people, more importantly, this is not a list to make you unpleasant, make other people unpleasant. That's why I'm saying that through asubha as a sanya, we have to create positivity for the well-being of the both, us and other people. Taking care of us, taking care of other people. But at the same time, understanding the underlying anicca as well, because we studied anicca in the first place. But more importantly, having a good understanding about the body will help us to become better people. Because if you are sick bodily, that might be a problem to practice Dhamma, isn't it? Think about it. You have a very bad back pain at the moment. You are not even come here and then take a seat over there, right? It's pretty difficult for you, right? So that means it's important to have a healthy body, right? If you think that the doctors are saying they can't give you anything rather than a painkiller, then think about these 10 sanya in a way, in a positive way. It can heal your understanding, it can heal your perceptions, right? Let's go to the second question. Why was asubha sanya originally taught to individuals with intense sexual desires, and how does it impact? How does its impact differ for people without such tendencies? This is something I call, during the Buddha's time, not everybody followed the same meditation, right? Nowadays, all of maybe majority go to one meditation even. At that time, meditation instructions were taken personally, because the teacher has to know who you are. What are your akusala areas, right? Sometimes the problem is that somebody may have issues with regard to the delusion, moha part. For that kind of a person, the meditation could be anapanasati. And for someone who is struggling with a lot of frustration, anger, and other relevant things with regard to the hatred, then for that person, it's not anapanasati, it's metta meditation. And someone who is struggling a lot with jealousy, who can accept other people, the meditation is going to be mudita meditation. Who has practiced mudita as a meditation? Tell me. Tell me how many of you have practiced mudita as a meditation? Mudita is a meditation. It's not only a state of mind. The Buddha says there are 11 ways to attain Nibbana. One way is practicing mudita as a meditation. Metta also meditation. Karuna is also meditation. Mudita is also meditation. Upekka is also meditation. And first, second, third, fourth, jhanas, they are also kind of meditation. But Buddha is emphasizing about Brahma Viharas more than the jhanas. Why? Brahma Viharas are making us good people, and then we are going into our own enlightenment. Jhanas, you are creating yourself only an isolated being, and you are trying to work on it like Hindus are the ones who invented jhanas primarily. The Buddha said Brahma Viharas are the highest ways of practicing everything. So mudita is a meditation. So then if the teacher is to see somebody who has a problem of being jealous all the time, because of jealousy, always gossiping about other people, the teacher has to then understand mudita is the good meditation for you. How to practice mudita? Being able to understand others' achievements, your achievements, and then clarifying what's happening in my understanding about others' achievement, others' happiness. So this is why I'm telling you, if you during the Buddha's time, Buddha or other monks guided people for meditations individually, for the most part, because meditation has to be done by understanding the custom-tailored approach about different individuals' temperaments. And even if you take a very late book written by Buddha Ghosha, Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, it clearly states there are 6 characters. Raga, dosa, moha, saddha, buddhi, vitarka. 6 characters. And then 6 characters have 6 meditations. That's the same what we see in the early Buddhist suttas. Raga character, that's a very good place where we have to discuss. Raga character. Raga means someone who has unwanted, not even satisfied. He or she has all the sensual pleasure, but too much about it. Very obsessive, very infatuated, no boundary. Whatever the person sees, go to that. Whoever the person sees, go to that person. This is called a raga charita. What you call a character who has lust, too much hypersexualistic thoughts. Then the Buddha said, for that person I recommend asubha meditation. Very interesting. It's a very person-based, individualistic idea, that meditation. Then those are character. There are people who are always very angry, does not tolerate other people. Even for a small thing, they get very exasperated, angry, not happy. Then the meditation is metta, practice metta. Right? So in this way, and then there is another character called, finally, Vitakka character. Vitakka character means someone who is ruminating all the time, cannot make a decision. When there is something in the family that has to be decided by that person, never that person can come to a decision. Always think, I don't know how to make the decision. I don't know. Maybe you can decide something. This character is called Vitakka character. Then the Buddha said, this kind of a person should practice anapanasati, understanding oneself. So that means meditation, if you're really looking at it at the practical level, okay, I'm not talking the theoretical stuff. Theoretically, we can talk about meditation all day, night. Practical level, how does the meditation affect us? Start from someone someone who understands the characters, get to understand us individually, and then giving us that meditation. But it takes a long time. You can't do it in 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. Right? So anyways, it's very interesting here. This asubha meditation was prescribed primarily, generally for someone who has lots of unwanted desires. Right? That is something. So for other people, I don't think they should. They may do a general meditation, metta meditation. Anapanasati is the best, because anapanasati is the root meditation in the Satipatthana Suttas. Because the more you refine your breath, the calmer you are. We need that calmness to understand our own emotions, feelings, our body. Okay. We will check out the other questions. How is asubha sanya presented in the Girimananda Sutta, and what benefits does it offer, particularly for lay people? Now you might be wondering, what can I get as a lay person in understanding asubha sanya? You will take charge of your health. That's number 1. You will become more compassionate. Why? The more you understand your body with its changing nature, the body also has pleasantness, right? Pleasantness, unpleasantness. Then you get to look at yourself from a very much self-care nature, and also you want to give it to other people. right? So I think that self-care, other care will be the main practice when you understand the asubha sanya in this way. And then let's say you are struggling from health issues, then you are understanding your body very well. You are trying to improve yourself, and that will help you become better. So that is what a lay people can initially get. For a monk, it's a different thing. For a sangha member, they are working on their own perspective. Don't try to what you call become mixed up with that thought. For a lay person, that is the idea. And then, what is the core teaching of Asubha Sanya, and how does understanding the 32 body parts help individuals gain better mastery over the physical and mental state? Yeah, it definitely a good understanding. You might think, what about doctors? They are also understanding anatomy. They are also doing daily surgeries. But how come they are so much stressed out in their activities? That's a different perspective. We are not doctors at this point. We are trying to look at it from a normal person's perspective, just to take care of us. That is our bare minimum level of understanding this, which help us to become healthy and understand life. Finally, what is the deeper lesson the Buddha offers Venerable Girimananda regarding the contemplation of the body's unpleasant nature, and how does it provide hope for improvement rather than despair? Did the Buddha make him unhappy? What was the Buddha's thought here? When he was thinking about Asubha Sanya for Venerable Girimananda, Venerable Girimananda is already very sick. If the Buddha wanted to say, you are already sick, look at the suffering, think about the suffering, then you will attain Nibbana. Was that the Buddha's intention? I don't think so. Buddha wanted him to get better. Venerable Girimananda also wanted to recover soon. So if that is the purpose, if that was the purpose, then what the Buddha wanted him to understand is that if you look at your body, your sickness has been happening because of certain functioning in your body, probably some changes in those functioning. Because we don't find what sickness Venerable Girimananda had in the sutta. So the more you understand that particular scenario, you will find out how can I adjust myself, adapt myself to get better from this sickness. So think about it, as someone who's very highly diabetic, right? And the person is for the first time getting to hear, this is your level of your diabetes. And if you can take care of you this way, you can improve this side. You can be better if you follow this kind of a treatment, this kind of a diet plan, this kind of exercises, these kind of thoughts. Try to lower your stress. Try to lower your depression. Right? Try not to become panic about everything. Try not to become very complicated. So when these advices are coming to that person is trying to create a certain idea about how to recover. But those ideas would have not come from him if there were no proper instructions were given to him by somebody, given to her by somebody. Even the instructions were given, if the instructions were given in a very technical way, understanding the body and the mind, that can really help that person to better. So this way, we are learning that the Buddha's intention of giving this sutta to Venerable Girimananda was simply for him to overcome his health issue. Primarily, that was the main thing. Now, the other problem is, this is a paradox. Huh? If you look at some other suttas where we see the Buddha's body was highly praised. Have you seen those suttas? Lakkana Sutta. There are other suttas like that, where the Buddha's physical body is highly admired. He had very long fingers, and he had a long tongue, and then his feet were very even. So then we see that we take it as a beauty of the Buddha's body. He had 32 body, 30, he had 32, exactly 32. 32 beautiful physiognomic characteristics. And in addition to those 32, 80 sub physiognomic body parts. So then how do we understand? If the Buddha always, worried people by saying that body is always a filthy, ugly, unpleasant thing, how come he was to talk about his own body? His 32, those beautiful things, they are all karmic things. They didn't happen all of a sudden. Yeah, it is said that when he talks, there is a smell like a blue lotus coming out of his mouth. And he says the reason is that since I started my bodhisattva life, I never lied to anybody. I never slandered. I never hurt anybody with my speech. I never gossiped. I never idle chatted. That's why when the Buddha is talking, there's a blue lotus smell coming out of his mouth. In the sansaric life, because I never lied, my tongue in this last life became very long. Think about it. Someone who cannot speak words, depending on the situation. Majjhima Nikay's Brahmaya Sutta, Digha Nikay's Lakkhana Sutta, these suttas are talking Buddha's body as a pleasant, very wonderful place. So then, how to understand unpleasantness at that point? That means here, asubha sanya does not tell us we have to look at the repulsive nature. We have to look at ugly nature in the first place. Yes, there is an ugliness. There is a repulsiveness. We're going to look at it. But before that, what the Buddha is asking, try to understand your body. When we understand our body, it helps us to become healthy. That health is very important to practice Dhamma. So that is the main plan for lay people from asubha sanya. They can get better. Don't leave everything to a doctor, to a medical professionals. Right? So you understand your body. You can, because that health is very important. What did the Buddha say about the health? Arogya parama labha. Right? The Buddha said, the greatest gain, profit in this world is health. What health is that? Absence of physical, mental issues. But as we age, we may embrace our own health issues. But just because of that, we don't have to give up. Because Buddha is saying, you need to take care of yourself. Thereby you take care of other people. You're going to have a perfect balance in your health and all that. That helps you to practice Dhamma. So that is what you are supposed to learn from the Girimananda Sutta's Asubha Sanya. All right. Any questions? So please come to the mic. You can ask them.
Good evening, Bhante.
It's good evening.
To take asubha as an object of meditation, this only for monastics, right?
Generally speaking, yes. But not for all monastics. It was given to certain monastics. I go back to what I said about the characters. The Buddha and other monks, they check what character is the monk and they do the appropriate meditation. But normally for certain, of course not for lay people, because lay people will mess up their life for sure. Because that's interesting, yes.
Hi, Bhante.
Yes.
Yeah, my question is, what are the different types of meditation again, right? You mentioned a few for like asubha, then there is anapanasati and all that. So my question is, can you repeat again, which is for which one? Prescribed for which one? And the second also is, there's also this one on death meditation, like meditation on the charnel ground and all that. Can you elaborate about that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I think you need to know the meditations just to the extent of lay people, right? I don't have to talk about all these meditations. I will just share with you meditations that a lay person can practice that are good by keeping your lay life. Okay, I suggest 4 Brahma Viharas. They are the very important meditations for everybody. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, not as an attitude, but also as a meditation. The main meditation that we all supposed to practice is Anapanasati. Let's say breathing meditation. So I think every day, at least 5 to 10 minutes, if you can practice breathing meditation, it can help you a lot. Okay, and then Brahma Vihara meditations. As you ask, meditation on death, meditation on Deva, meditation on a few other things, they are not mandatory, because for a lay person, it might be difficult to go to those kind, especially the charnel grounds. That's only for a certain monastic. And then, actually, during this time, we cannot do that as well, because you see the 9 charnel grounds, they were pretty much very bizarre, terrible things, right? And then it's not recommended for lay people. So I would say for lay people, Anapanasati and 4 Brahma Viharas are enough. But if you are too concerned about them, if you think you cannot practice any of them, practice 3 meditations we discussed in the Dajjaka Sutta. What are they? Meditation on the Buddha, Buddhanusati, or meditation on the Dhamma, Dhammanusati, meditation on the Sangha, Sanghanusati. What is Buddhanusati? Meditation on 9 great qualities of the Buddha, which we discussed. Dhammanusati, meditation on Dhamma, Dhamma's great qualities, 6 great qualities. So meditation on Sangha means 9 great qualities. So let me think about a structure. Perhaps you start with Anapanasati, all of you, very concerned. You are very concerned. And when Anapanasati goes, there are 2 sides you can think about. Maybe you practice one of the Brahma Viharas, or you practice one of the Anusati, Buddha Anusati, Dhamma Anusati. Now you might be concerned, then what is Samatha, what is Vipassana, right? I think that's the next question you might be thinking. A lot of people are talking. If you look at the suttas, Satipatthana Sutta, most of these suttas, Buddha is not primarily talking Samatha and Vipassana inside Satipatthanas. But there are certain very small suttas in Anguttara Nikaya. There are these names Samatha and Vipassana. But initially he's talking Sati, Samma Sati. What has gone here? Why Samatha Vipassana were meditations at this point? Why they were not meditation at the Buddha time? It is because Samatha Vipassana, really speaking, they are not 2 meditations. They are 2 stages of Satipatthana meditation. Because when you practice Anapanasati, you end up with Samatha. At that point, you are shifting your focus onto Vipassana. That means Anapanasati's next stages. If you look at the Anapanasati Sutta, even the Girimananda Sutta at the end, the last Sanya, Buddha says that that Vipassana culture is coming at the end of Anapanasati meditation. Then what happened, especially the Burmese tradition, they pull out this the Satipatthana meditation as Samatha and Vipassana. That's how it became 2 at this point. But Samatha is the calming part, Vipassana is the inside part. You cannot separate them out, because calmness inside, they happen together. Or when you have the calmness, with that calmness, you are shifting your focus onto inside while keeping the calmness. So for the lay people, once again, I'm saying Anapanasati, a basic Anapanasati practice, breathing meditation. You don't have to do it for enlightenment in the first place. A basic Anapanasati meditation. In addition to that, you can think about one of the Brahma Viharas. One very good meditation is Metta meditation, and Buddhanusati, about the Buddha or Dhamma. I think you asked characters as well, right? So if you are more concerned about your practice, better you see a good teacher, and good teacher has to understand you. You really want a very specific meditation, but I don't think it's the best interest of you at this point, because you are lay people. You need a generic meditation. So yeah. Finally, your meditation object sometimes come from your house. It's like the story, yeah. There was a family. The husband is going for places to find out inner happiness by the ways of those programs, and the wife also going to certain programs, many places. Finally, one of them settled down in the house, and the other is still looking for. When that person was interviewed, the person says, "My meditation object finally was my children. My children taught me how to be patient." Very interesting. Said, meditation object is not outside my house. They were my children. They taught me how to become more patient. Yes, it should be last question.
Good evening, Bhante.
Yes, good evening.
Can Bhante share about how to practice Brahma Vihara individually? Bhante mentioned practice mudita, maybe for jealousy. How are we going to practice
Okay.
upeka?
Yes. Okay. First, I will give you a reference, not in my own words. The reference is Attakanagara Sutta. Let me give the reference, the place of this sutta, where Buddha talks about it. Attakanagara Sutta means Majjhima Nikaya 52. MN 52 is a sutta. This is the sutta where Buddha says you need to make Brahma Viharas as daily meditations. Not retreat meditations only, yeah? Daily meditations. Okay, so how to do it? The Buddha says metta has to be practiced in the way how he talks in the Metta Sutta. Metta Sutta clearly tells us how to practice it. First, you have to develop 15 skillful habits. Then you are slowly extending your metta to different beings, and that is how you are practicing. Karuna means a great amount of compassion. You are first becoming empathetic. You're practicing empathy. You're putting yourself in other people's shoes, and then you are trying to help out them, being compassionate. So that means you are creating a compassionate practice in the house. Start from your house. Huh? Don't start from outside in the first place. You may go to a place and learn it. So that means you are going to be kind to yourself. Not many people are kind to themselves. Maybe you can make a sort of tagline every day. I am kind to myself. When you wake up early in the morning, I am kind to myself. Right? Then you are going to think about, then I have to be kind to my mom, my dad, my wife, my husband. Not that kindness. Attakanagara Sutta's kindness. Not that way. Attakanagara Sutta is the place, but you are thinking, may I be kind? Let me be kind. Right? So you are giving kindness to you. What is kindness to you? Am I really kind to myself with my activities I'm doing from morning to evening? Or am I neglecting kindness to me? Right? And then you are slowly extending to other people, family and other people. Mudita, this is a daily problem to many people. When you hear other people doing better than you, and what's the first impression about it? I have to accept people. I have to accept their achievements. You always think, I have to accept me, I have to accept them. How to accept them? They are good karma. Maybe they are very effortful. Maybe they were developing their virya, their vayama, understanding those dhamma things and why they are successful in their life. And then you bring that as an attitude all the time. Whenever you hear something better than you, how people do better than you, you think, how come you are better than me? Not you putting that question. You can be better than me. Okay? So that kind of an attitude is something that you are going to make happen. I remember a long time ago in my university in Sri Lanka, there was a head of the department in the department who signed at the place of the dean. And the dean was a very kind person. And when he saw that, he did not go mad. He said, I wish one day you become the dean, you sign at that place. And the person became the dean as well one day. Right? So thinking with so much kindness, not picking up very fast, not becoming a very perfectionist all the time. You did the bad thing, I'm correct, I'm okay. Right? So then creating that kind of karuna in the meditation and also mudita in daily activities. When you are doing these three states of mind as a meditation, upekka is not difficult. Why? Upekka is this, what you call balance of your everything, attitudes, activities, thoughts, emotions. So then it's a daily, when you ask me how to do it, it's a daily thing. You have to do it in your daily life. So when you wake up since morning up until the evening, to you, to other people, try to bring that attitude. So then you are going to create them as meditations in daily. When you do that, you might feel a lot of positive things happening in your life. Sometimes you go to attain Nibbana somewhere. I want to practice meditation to go to Nibbana, but it won't happen in 1 day, 2 days, many months. Why is it? So this is an inner journey. Only through the four Brahma Viharas we can make that happen, mostly. Because when metta is our daily attitude, then it is already a meditation. When karuna is my daily attitude, it is my daily meditation already. I don't have to find places to do it. When mudita is my daily attitude, it is already become a meditation. So in that way, try to incorporate that from your daily activity. So then meditation is already there. All right, I think it's almost a time over here. So with all these instructions for Asubha Sanya, once again, I want to summarize here. Asubha Sanya for a lay person is not looking at the repulsive nature all alone, unpleasant nature all alone. Asubha Sanya, if you take it for your daily life, you are taking it in a way that you understand you better than how you used to understand. Your body, you are carrying it mentally, physically, emotionally. The more you understand, you will know what it needs, how to behave properly, and all that. All that are helping you to recover. If you are sick, recovery is faster. If you are not that sick, you don't have to get sick. So all are really going. That is the purpose of asubha. But for a monk, it's different. Overall, Buddha also did not tell us Vasanya to Venerable Girimananda not to look at the repulsive nature itself. He said, understand your body, it will help you recover. Good night, everyone. Safe journey back home. Wishing you a happy Chinese New Year as well. Thank you.